Hello and welcome to your 2022 SPED updates, where we will be bringing you everything you need to know about what has changed in our special ed system since last school year. First things first, I want to introduce you to a number of new SCRED staff members. We have several new SCRED services coordinators joining us this year. Nell Curry-Dykehouse is replacing Rachel Zamora as our Autism Services Coordinator. Christine Lund replacing Connie Sim as Low Incident Services Coordinator. We have Melissa Chin replacing Wendy Stitchin as Academic Services Coordinator for all districts, and Beth Hillerns replacing Barb Circa as an Academic Services Coordinator for all districts. Please note that we've restructured our Academic Services Coordinators, and no longer will they be split elementary literacy, secondary literacy, elementary math, secondary math. They're just supporting academics more broadly and comprehensively, and so more to come on that and what that looks like. We also have 2 open positions on our SCRED Services Coordinator team. So on that academic team, we are still looking for an Academic Services Coordinator replacing Jen Lake. And then Jody Henderson is moving on to another opportunity. Her last day is September 16th, and we are still working to fill her position as well. So as we, are doing this, we're trying to figure out the best way to redistribute roles and responsibility in light of these vacancies. However, we're likely developing a centralized ticketing process for getting academic support when you need it. So more to come on that as those details get sorted out. In the meantime, please reach out to both Beth Hillerns and Melissa Chin via email if you need help, and then they'll collaborate and work together to figure out how best to meet those needs. We have a number of new SCRED school psychologists this year. So Ashlyn Blaschke is moving over to the Lakeside Elementary. Emily Fisher is replacing Ashlyn, as school psychology intern for Chisago Lakes Middle School. We have Jenny Vogelsberg replacing Alyssa McDonough at Chisago Lakes Primary and Education Center. Molly Weber is replacing Lindsay Redinzel at Pine City Elementary and Early Childhood. And then Lauren Birchill is replacing Melissa Chin at Pine City High School and Vision. Please note that both Jenny and Lauren are telehealth providers, so we'll be working with those teams to figure out how best to provide that school psychology support via telehealth. But we're really excited about Lauren and Jenny and the experience and passion that they're bringing to those telehealth roles this year. And then finally, Kristen Otremba is replacing Nate Puckett at North Branch Area High School, and she's also going to be serving at North Branch Area Education Center this year. We have a few new SCRED student support personnel who are supporting our students with their mental health and behavior needs across our districts. So Amber Andrews is going to be a social worker, school social worker, mental health provider at Vision. Cassie Peterson is joining the Rush City team as a student support provider, and Angela Hollerman is going to be a school counselor replacing David Jackson at Pine City Elementary. Our itinerant team has a few changes to note as well. So Connie Sim isn't going anywhere. She's just shifting positions into our physical health disabilities teacher. Katie Aronson similarly will be shifting from full-time physical therapist to our early childhood special ed birth to 2 teacher for Rush City, Hinckley, Finlayson, and East Central. She's going to serve those districts as a physical therapist as well. And then Jen Cockburn is replacing Katie Aronson in Chisago Lakes, North Branch, and Pine City as a physical therapist. We then have Molly Richter replacing Angel Rivera Diaz as teacher of the deaf, hard of hearing for Chisago, North Branch, and Rush City. And Jackie Hansen will remain the teacher for students using ASL, so just note that there could be some unique caseload arrangements based on student needs there. Couple technology updates for you. With eduCLIMBER, nothing major has changed. We are just asking that you transition to the new eduCLIMBER interface if you haven't already. It's going to be really important for you to just make the jump over into that new interface because no new updates are going to be made in the old interface. In addition, all of the resources that we develop at SCRED to help support implementation will be based off of that new interface. So it's really important as you're utilizing those resources that the screen you're looking at looks the same as the screen referenced on those resources. And again, like I mentioned this morning, they can all be found on our new eduCLIMBER support page on the SCRED website. For Kurzweil, I want to just remind you that if you have a support request for Kurzweil, that you submit that through the SCRED Help Desk portal that's linked here in the slide. You can also find it under that same databases page as eduCLIMBER. Just go to under databases, click on Kurzweil. And then Connie Sim is going to be our primary support for Kurzweil this coming year, so that's exciting. Similar to eduCLIMBER, we are also strongly encouraging you to shift over to SpEd Forms 2.0 if you're still using 1.0. There's no sunset date set for version 1.0 at this time. However, SpEd Forms will not be making any updates in that old interface either. So, for example, the new BSP template that came out, that's only available in 2.0. The revised MA billing forms are only available in 2.0. So it's really going to be advantageous for you to switch over to 2.0 and just get accustomed to using that new interface. If you need to know how to do that, we've linked a brief video tutorial in this slide for you to help. There's also a new button, just in the sake of efficiency, wanted to note that there's a new button in the eval reports that allows you to insert the eval assessments table from the notice of eval prior written notice right into the eval report. So you don't have to retype them all in anymore, which is super slick, or delete those rows that you haven't used. If you want to know how to use that feature, again, we've linked a resource in for you here. Okay, I want to spend a little time talking about the behavior support plan because it really, really, truly has never been easier to write and maintain a behavior support plan for a student who needs it. A little trip down memory lane here. We've been through a lot. We've been in a lot of different places with our behavior support plan or BSP templates. So back in 2014, we developed a template that we used for several years. And we had gotten some feedback that it was very lengthy, redundant, difficult to use. So we got input from you, developed a draft, got additional input, and then rolled out a new Google Doc template in 2021. So we were really feeling great about that redesign. And then we were really excited because SpEd Forms got a hold of our template and also really loved it. So they actually adopted the SCRED BSP template and used that as the basis for the BSP form that they created and released last spring. Again, only available in 2.0, but it's really exciting because that work that we did is being reflected in that SpEd Forms system and benefiting many users across the state. What's so great about this new template is that it includes drop-downs with example text and the student's name pre-filled. So it really, similar to how you write accommodations and modifications, it really just helps make things really clear, efficient, and aligned to the student information within that file. Of course, we need to individualize things based on the needs of that student, but it really helps set that plan and make sure that it's really clear. Also helps give good ideas for things that might be good options for that particular student. So really exciting about that. So our goal is to have all behavior support plans maintained in the new BSP form in SpEd Forms. The reason for this is that it saves you time. It's quicker to write and it prints with your IEP, finalizes right with your IEP. It also saves your colleagues time. So when a student switches from one case manager to another, switches buildings, we're not having to navigate getting, different types of forms updated in, the preference of one case manager over the other. Having everything in the SpEd form system puts it all right with the other special ed paperwork for that student. And again, there's consistency there, which is really helpful for everyone system-wide. It also saves time for gen ed teachers and paras and will enhance implementation in that it's easier for them to review something and know how to use it when it's consistent across students. And we've identified that BSP implementation is an area for improvement across our system, and we think having one tool that our gen ed teachers and paras, other support personnel will be using will be really helpful. So we're asking that you put your BSPs in SpEd Forms at the annual IEP meeting this year. So as you're getting to those meetings, that you're updating the BSP in SpEd Forms at that natural update point. So here's how we're going to get you there. we did move several BSPs, about 40, into SpEd Forms last spring. So we provided some initial support for that, for those of you who were using that 2021 template and had updated to version 2.0. So those were the two criteria. Moving forward, we've developed several tools and resources within CMR to help you know how to use this new BSP template. So you can go to the BSP page, and under Go To Tools, you'll see the tutorials right there. Okay, both for transferring a templated BSP from Google Doc into SpEd Forms and writing one from scratch. And then if you also, after reviewing those resources, continue to need support, check with your team, connect with a mentor, work with a school psychologist, or reach out to your social behavior services coordinator. And there will be some technical support for BSPs provided during ULC this week in case you want some immediate support after reviewing those resources. We've also developed a new page on CMR outlining placement guidelines. And so there's a little bit of change here, and really the rationale is that we wanted to provide clear procedures and useful tools for teams to review behavior data thresholds to then proactively determine when and how to intensify supports for students with behavior needs. And I'm going to just show you a little bit about this page. So it is right here, placement changes to setting 3 or setting 4 behavior programs, and I believe that this is, under ongoing. So if you go to the ongoing section and scroll down, placement changes is right there. And what's nice about this page is it gives you some more specific thresholds regarding when to wrap people in for support. So if you have a student, for example, who gets 5 or more office discipline referrals within a month, that's a flag. That's going to be some time to do some consultation, because that's a lot of office discipline referrals in 1 month. Or 10 office discipline referrals cumulative. So just watching for those thresholds is going to be really important. Some guidance on who to reach out to. In addition, we want to make sure that the student's receiving the maximum amount of support and services within their current setting. So there's some self-check questions for you to answer here about whether or not everything that student might need is in place. In the spirit of database decision making, we also need to have data collection tools and processes set up for behaviors. In addition to any IEP goals that the student's working on, we need to really be gathering that data on the student's target behaviors in their behavior support plan. So there's several tools linked in here to help you do that. And then our more specific placement guidelines are linked for you here. Please note that we are going to be making some changes to our placement guideline, particularly our guideline 13, which is our setting 3 and 4 placement guideline this year, really moving to a more collaborative approach to this process and away from kind of one person in one role being the gatekeeper of this, but putting some really solid practices and teaming practices in place so that those decisions are more collaborative at that building level and more proactive. So more to come on that. So again, highlights our threshold, status check, and problem-solving strategies, and pre-made data collection tools for you to use. Also, in the spirit of efficiency and support, we have developed Part B evaluation timeline calendars for each district. So these live on CMR, and they are under evaluation and planning. So if you go to that page and you scroll down to evaluation planning, you'll see the eval planning guide, the licensing team grids in your district, and then this new 30 school day evaluation timeline calendar dashboard. So when you click on that, you can click into these calendars. I'll go to Centrals, and you'll be able to see when your evaluation is due based on when you get consent. So if I get consent from a parent on October 19th, then I can just really quickly look and see that my evaluation is due on December 5th. For some districts, your 23-24 school calendar is not yet posted. So you'll see some TBD at the end of your calendar. Once your 23-24 school year calendars get approved by your school board, we'll be going back in and getting these finished up for you so you can finish out with setting those spring timelines. Assistive technology. So you all will receive, if you're a case manager, I should say, you'll receive an AT wheel today. So we're trying to put AT consideration at your fingertips. As part of the Assistive Technology Consideration Project, the SCRED AT Committee has been working on really increasing comfort, confidence, and consistency with which teams consider AT as part of the IEP planning process for our students with disabilities. So the goal here is really to build capacity and make AT resources more accessible and encourage a growth mindset, challenging you to reflect on where you're at with AT consideration and what skills and resources you may need to continue to develop your skills in that regard. So that's really what the AT committee is focused on. They're available to share resources, assist in AT problem solving, and celebrate educators who are assistive technology leaders in their teams. So there's a lot of resources that the AT committee is working on and has already developed, including resources on the Case Manager Resources website, the SCRED website, the facilitation of AT networking nights, a curated AT closet, and more. So really just, again, trying to increase our resources there. And this new resource is one of those strategies. So the committee purchased these resources for everyone. And what the purpose of this tool, again, is just to make these ideas, this information about AT more accessible and easy to use. Your school psychologist has them and will be distributing them if they haven't already. On the wheel, there will be ideas for low and high-tech AT to meet both academic or functional needs, an overview of the SET process, AT definitions, web-based AT resources, some legal references regarding AT, and on the bottom left corner of side 2 is a code for free access to an electronic version of the information on the wheel. So if you'd like it in a different format, bookmark it on your computer, etc., it'll be right there for you. So super exciting. The SCRED Special Ed Advisory Committee, I want to talk with you a little bit about SEEK. So this morning we talked about an MTSS framework and the essential elements of an MTSS framework. And one of those elements is family and community engagement. So really building relational trust and equitable partnership with families and school and district staff to create shared responsibility between all stakeholders. And SEEK is one way that we promote family and community engagement, that we build that trust, build those partnerships, make them stronger, and really establish that shared responsibility. And we're going to do that this year through recruiting and retaining more parent members. In our kickoff to our new SEEK structure last year, we made some progress here, but we really noticed that we lost parent participation over the course of the year, and it was really hard for them to be engaged. So we're going to be meeting in person this year, trying to do some more recruitment, make it more accessible for parents. SEEK is also going to offer helpful information and meaningful networking opportunities during those SEEK meetings. And then we're going to focus on broadening our marketing and communication efforts to strengthen partnerships between family, school teams, and SCRED, really wanting to get the word out to all parents of students with disabilities that SEEK exists, that it's a tool, that it's a resource, and be a source of support for all parents. So we're excited about that. These are your SEEK members. There's really no changes to our SEEK team this year, so I'm really excited about that. Like I said, the parent representatives, we're going to be recruiting some more there, but these are your teacher reps, so you can scan that list to see who might be on SEEK from our member districts. If you notice your district missing from this list and you're interested in being part of SEEK, please reach out to me directly, and I'd love to bring you on the group. So our SEEK team, SEEK meets 3 times a year for 2 hours in October, January, and April. And also those teacher members of SEEK have formed the Special Ed Advisory Group that I meet with more frequently. And the purpose of that group is really just to be another stakeholder group, steering committee, if you will, to help give me information on how things are going out in the districts, what might be concerns, bring things to my attention in terms of needs for support, and also be a sounding board for me to get some input on some of the ideas that we have in terms of the services we're going to be providing you at SCRED, new resources, new strategies, etc., giving me that immediate feedback so that we can ensure that the decisions we're making are in alignment to the needs of our stakeholders. So that's been a really great partnership over this last year. So all those invites are going to be coming out really soon. So if you're on Seek, watch for those to come. Like I mentioned, we're looking for parents. So there's a Seek nomination form linked here. If you, per our statutory requirements, we need to have parent members that represent all 13 disability categories and each of our member districts, including non-public. So as you're meeting with parents at IEP meetings or otherwise, particularly those who are our strong advocates and partners, consider nominating them or asking them to fill out an application directly. We really just want to get, again, as many parent reps as we can. I want to tell you about the new SpEd Department Meeting model that we're going to be introducing this year. So instead of the kind of historical sit and get version of a SpEd Department Meeting that you're used to, we're going to be flipping it a little bit. So I will be sending out via email the SpEd Department Meeting agenda 1 week prior to your actual department meetings. So you'll be able to review all of the content either individually or as an SST group. I'm going to build in some accountability measures there too. And then that week following, your SSS will meet on site with your team to answer any questions about the content in the agenda, address any concerns about the requirements or, information being shared, and then support local implementation efforts, either with ongoing efforts in your district or things related to the department meeting agenda. We're really just trying to make it more dialogue rich so that we can be working together and less sit and get. So hopefully that will be a great change in how we're doing our department meetings moving forward. And again, they're going to continue to occur bi-monthly with the first set of meetings happening the week of September 26th. Want to just bring you a couple of monitoring updates from MDE. There's just 2 key compliance activities I wanted to talk with you about. So last year, we did indicator data collection or IDC reviews. So these were statewide. There was a statewide random file selection. This is going to continue annually. So every year, MDE is going to randomly select a number of files from across the state. And then if there are files identified from any of our districts, MDE will notify me and the superintendent. And this happens in late January, early February. Once we get those names, we review those files, and then we need to make necessary student file level correction based on our findings. So that is just going to continue every year. Very targeted file review around very specific topics. The findings from last year were just communicated out, so I have those, and I'm going to be sharing those out with the relevant stakeholders soon. Program monitoring is taking, so that's the record review, and we're going to continue that. MDE will be doing special ed program monitoring on a 5-year cohort cycle, and they're completely revising this to be a risk-based and topic-specific approach to monitoring. So they're going to provide training, and the first cohort isn't starting until 23-24, and we already know that what they'll be monitored on is progress reporting. So a lot of different activities to really look deeply at a district's progress reporting efforts and system. SCRED, this is some good news for you, and its member districts are cohort 5. So we won't be monitored programmatically until 2027-28. So we have some time. So I'll be anxious to learn what this looks like over the next year or two, and then support our system in getting prepared. One way that we do get prepared for monitoring is through our CIMP process. So SCRED CIMP is coming back this year. The dates are January 18th, 19th, and 20th. Just a reminder to avoid scheduling those meetings that include psychs, services coordinators, or your admin, SCRED admin on these days because they're going to be tied up in CIMP. But I do want to note that we're working on a little bit of a revised approach to how we select files for CIMP and the process itself. We really want to make it more collaborative, less anxiety provoking, just really focused on the purpose, which is growth in our system, continuous improvement through meaningful feedback. So more to come on that. In the meantime, we're just asking that you familiarize yourself with our new resources, guidance, and people. Ask questions if anything remains unclear, and please seek support and assistance wherever you need it. Thank you very much for listening and attending to these important updates, and we will continue to circle back on these topics as appropriate throughout the year. Thank you so much.